Welcome back. Kyle Casada here, John Galt Insurance Podcast. We're actually in our West Coast office today. I got my co-host, Pete Podgy, our CEO.
Glad to be back.
Welcome. And we're bringing in one of our top agents and mentor, Tyler, running the office over here for us, and just wanted to come over and pick your brain for a little bit and spend some time with you and share your story with the audience.
For sure. I'm excited.
I'm excited.
And of course, I'm going to grill you a little bit.
No, I expected that.
So I'm just going to jump right in, obviously going all the way back, right? So you're 26 years old right now today, right? You've been with us for about 3 years, but let's go back even farther than that, right? So 19-year-old Tyler, graduate high school, looking yourself in the mirror. Do I want to go to college? Do I not want to go to college? Bring us back kind of to where you were at so we can give, our fans really a good in-depth dive into your brain of 19-year-old Tyler. We'll take it from there.
Well, before you say that, I don't think I have any fans yet, but.
After this, you're going to be famous.
No. 19, really kind of on the verge, like what's next after high school. And there's like this stigma that if you want to be successful, you go to college. So I went to Kent State. I did a year there, and after my second semester, it was just, and I'm taking business classes, but I've got a business professor that's never owned a business. Right. And so, you're in this situation of like, who is this even teaching me, what I want to do? And I don't even know what I want to do. So I would say really just kind of that limbo mode of like figuring out what am I even doing here, right? Right. You guys went to college?
Very similar. Went to a year and a half, 2 years, and said, what am I doing?
What am I doing?
Right. So similar. I came from a business background with my family, and I'm in business school, and they're trying to tell me what I don't like about teaching students is you're going to all earn more when you graduate than I'm making now.
Right.
Well, why are you telling me that?
Well, we talk about it a lot of times. Right? how many kids are in school who have a business profession or professor who's never actually opened a company.
Own a business or nothing. So.
Not that we should be proud of this, but all three of us dropped out of school.
I think that's something to be proud of.
Which just proves that there's other ways to create that success without that traditional avenue. So, all right, so 19 years old, you're in school, kind of going through the motions.
Paying attention some not paying attention, but really something's missing, right? Like, I don't know what I want to be doing at this point in time, but you start to get to where you're like, okay, responsibilities are on the horizon. College and all the fun is going to come to an end, and now I'm $100,000, $50,000 in debt, right. And it's like, now what? Right. The sun's come up, the party's over, and now we got to get to work. So thank God I didn't really get to that $50,000, $100,000 in debt point because I kind of got out after my first year. But you're still back at that what now mindset, right? You're just not incurring debt. So for me, it was like get a job right away. I was in Ohio and I wanted to be in Florida, so I made the leap. Many moons before meeting you guys. And then, from there it was like, again, like I said, get to work. So I'm working 3 jobs. I'm in a restaurant. I'm landscaping. I'm Ubering at night. And I'm trying to, still see if college is it for me or not. And calling around insurance companies looking for like an internship and whatnot. And so I stumbled across Brightway. But, very early I learned that unless you are the person that's putting down those heavy franchise fees, you have no ownership and you have no stake, unlike, where we're at here. So I think that was kind of the biggest difference. It was 6 months. Very quickly, I realized like, this is not the fit for me. 1, I don't have $50,000 to $100,000. Right. And 2, I have no ownership. So I had to get on the web and see what else was out there. So
going back to working 3 jobs, right? So some of your success is from your hard work, right? We'll get into your hours and what has been, your factor of creating your success with us. But you were never afraid of hard work, to your point, working 3 jobs so you could get out of Ohio and get down here to Florida. Yeah. You stumble across one of our competitors. You worked there for a little bit. Even before that, though, why insurance? Right? 20 years old, working landscape, working at a bar.
Didn't even know how to spell insurance.
It's not an industry that a 20-year-old's like, oh yeah, sign me up. So what made you even take that into consideration?
So when I was young, I had an uncle that he had the most money out of anyone in the family. And so like, it was very obvious.
Insurance will do that for you.
It was very obvious. And I'm like, I didn't know he was in insurance, but I'm like, whatever he does, that's what I want to do. And so it was just kind of always in the back of my mind of like, I want to be in insurance, but as far as, life, health, commercial, property and casualty, I really didn't know which direction to go in. And so I would say once I found out I could get into property and casualty insurance without a college degree, it was like no brainer, right? And so because before I wanted to kind of go in commercial, but I approached an agency and they said you need a college degree, and I'm thinking, for what?
Right.
Like it just didn't make any sense.
We actually say if you have one, you don't qualify.
Right. Yeah. So
That makes sense.
yeah, I think that's kind of why I chose this route. But to get back to your question of like why insurance and like why this is because like you can go out to dinner and you'll see a guy working at behind the bar, and damn well he's going to be behind that bar for the rest of his life.
Right.
In the insurance game, it's like if you just knock out 10 years of solid hard work, I mean, you can find yourself on a golf course on a Tuesday at 4:00 instead of being behind a bar slinging those drinks every single day. And I'm not knocking it.
Till 4 a.m.
Yeah, right. And I'm not knocking it. I enjoyed my time behind the bar. It was a blast, but
Can't do that forever.
you really can't. There is no end game for it, to be honest. So
Right. So you get to that point where you make that decision, join one of our competitors. You do that for 6 months. And then you find yourself kind of at a crossroad, right? I don't have the cash to be able to buy in where I have that equity stake. Right. You're out looking for an opportunity, and you stumble across what appeared at that time something to be too good to be true, right? So kind of walk me through that journey of your second guessing or questioning if what you were seeing was real.
yeah, so I understood that renewals is kind of what sets you up in the long term, right? And I wasn't set up when I was at Brightway to really get renewals and own that, have that ownership in the book. So that's really what I was looking for. And every opportunity I found said 50 to 100 grand. So it was just like wishy-washy with every single situation. Like, what am I trying to act like I have 50 grand? Like, I don't got nothing. So, when I stumbled across that, LinkedIn ad about John Galt, and I went on the website and I was snooping, reading different agents, experience their posts that they have on the website. It was like, no franchise fees. Oh, I'm like, oh, that's cool. So I find the youngest person on the list and I call him. I'm like, Jerry, Tyler, looking to join your company. Is it true you guys don't have franchise fees?
Yeah,
and you can have
I'm not buying it, right?
Right. Like I wanted to really try and see, and he was like, yeah, man, like there is no franchise fees. And I'm like, hell with it. I call up and Alex Ray answered, and he was like, yeah, man. And I think you pretty much took over.
I saw you from that. Yeah. I was like, I got a good one. I'm like, I got it. I'll take care of it.
But really before that, for me, I was still kind of like in that mindset of like, I wouldn't necessarily call it survival, but kind of, right? Like I still wanted to be successful. So I mean, like Monday through Friday at this point, I'm kind of in that transition of still working at the bar at night, still Ubering at night, and then you guys kind of brought me on. That stuff didn't change in the very beginning. I was in boot camp with you guys, and at night I was still Ubering until 2:00 in the morning, and then waking up at 7
And for a lot of that from the boot camp.
From the boot camp, yeah. So I mean, like that grind never changed. It was just cool that I found an opportunity to where I could take that grind and that grit mentality that I had and apply it to something that is now setting me up for the future. Right.
So you're 22 years old when you decide to really bet on yourself, right?
Yeah.
22.
Yeah.
Right. I always make you older than you actually are, right? So 22 years old, you show up to boot camp, first day, 10 minutes late, right? Yeah. Looking like a typical 22-year-old showing up. Walk us through that process, right? So you spoke to a couple agents. They're like, hey, it is what they're saying it is. But I'm sure there was still a little bit of question in the back of your mind. You Google us, there's 2 different addresses, you go to the wrong one, you're like, wait a second, right? So kind of bring us through that process of even your own brain and your own struggle of actually showing up on day one. Yeah.
I probably did the website at the time with the 2 addresses.
That was definitely it. Yeah, so I'm coming over from Cape Coral and I'm like 2 John Galts, and I don't know anyone to call to say which one is the right location, right? So anyway, obviously I picked the wrong one and I'm in this room and it's, everyone's dressed like they're about to like go work in construction. People are looking at me and I'm, I feel like I'm sharp at the time, and I'm sitting up in my chair, all excited. I'm like, hey, you guys ready? Like, we excited? And no one's excited. I'm like, first day, you know, and still no one's, so I go up and ask the lady up front. I'm like, hey, John Galt Insurance, first day? She's like, honey, like, I don't know where you are, but I don't know what you're looking for. This is not it.
Not where you're supposed to be.
So I hop back on the road, come in late, and then they kind of all like looked at me like, because when I did my interview with you guys, my camera wasn't working, so you still didn't know what I looked
I
like.
have no idea what this could look like.
There's no way this guy's close to 22 years old.
And so yeah, then kind of walked in, and I won't lie, I was like super nervous like when I first came in, because still I really don't know how to spell insurance at the time, only 6 months in the game. And it was just super welcoming. You know, you walk into a group of people and it can be those construction guys that don't welcome you. And then it's like, now it's like you guys, you know, and you're like, come on in. And it was super, it was like family oriented, I felt like, from day one. So, and I remember when you guys gave me Rookie of the Year, it was like, you know, I got up there and I could have been like, said like, oh, what's your secret, all that, you know, stuff. But it was more so like from day one, like I was like brought in and like you guys were like willing to help. And like train and like all that from day one. So I still to this day think that's the coolest thing, man.
Well, I think a lot of what, you know, we pat each other's backs, right, is that ability and willingness to want to mentor people like yourself. Yeah. And, you know, part of you running now this office for us and now mentoring that next wave of agents is just a testament to, you know, the system, but also then the hard work and you willing to bet on yourself and jump in and be mentored. Right, in an industry that typically, you know, you show up, you go through a couple of trainings, and you're put behind a computer and saying, figure it out.
Right.
All right.
Before we pat you on the back with your success, there's going to be a lot of people watching this that are scared to make the leap. They don't know what they want. They're confused. Their brain, why even go to this company and do this business? And since you've just walked the path in the last 2 years, what would you say to them?
I would ask them first, like, what are you looking for? Because if somebody's looking for something that you're going to get with instant gratification, you're going to get rich overnight, and you're not going to have to work hard, I'm going to tell you,
stay away.
Dream on, right? Like, you know, but I mean, the average young kid in America, you know, they want to be wealthy. They want to take care of their family one day. They want to have that balance of being able to enjoy themselves and not just be a slave to somebody else's business. If you want those things, you want to live that lifestyle of, you know, work hard and play hard at the same time, there's no franchise fees. That's most important. What career path can you get into to where you don't have to put an insane amount of money down and invest in a business and still collect renewals, still have and grow that passive income? You know, obviously you're going to have to work hard. And there's going to be nights to where, you know, like you said, we'll get into it. Like there are long nights ahead of you, but like there is light at the end of the tunnel, and there are people who have done it over and over and over again and proved a proven system. I don't think there's any other choice. If you're going to get into anything related to the financial services, I would say property and casualty insurance with John Galt. That's the way to go.
Absolutely. And so you make it through boot camp, right? You make it through boot camp. You go through MDP, your $1 Million Producer Training, right? And I'll never forget when, you know, you were one of the few that stayed after class, right? Like the 4th or 5th day. And you made me board out your next 5 years, right? Like you had this plan. And at that moment, I was like, okay, this kid's on to something, right? And, you know, for us, it's, you just said it, we have a proven system. But it's people betting on themselves and then more importantly, putting in that work to not recreate the system, but just to really double down, right? Sure. And one thing that you told me going all the way back to probably your 2nd or 3rd month is, I don't know if you know this or not, but you told me to make 100 calls, I make 200, right? And so walk me through your first year. What did that look like? You had some successes. You talk about you won Rookie of the Year. But it wasn't all rainbows and butterflies, right? Yeah. You had long hours, long nights, and there were certain calls and certain times that you were like, I don't know if this is worth it, right?
For sure.
Walk us through that first year of your experience with us.
And like, before I get into that, you said when we were mapping that out, I mean, what industry can you get on a whiteboard and map out, if I sell X amount this year, I make X amount, or if I sell X amount, I make this amount, and map it out in 5 years and actually be attainable? I mean,
where it compounds on itself every year.
Every single year. I mean, I think that's the coolest thing. Still do to this day. But anyway,
We should have taken a picture of it.
Yeah, we should
We
have.
should have. First year.
First year, yeah. So save the fun for, later in your life. Obviously, your first year is not going to be the most glorious year, but it's so important to, just hone in and get that tunnel vision, because your first year is your most important year. You can't ever go back to the beginning, because once you get busy, you've got all these habits. I would say really long nights is really going to be your biggest, factor.
With your success that year, hard nights, long hours, right?
Yeah.
A lot of times when newer agents are now calling you and asking you, right, about, what's the secret pill, or what do you do that, no one else is doing? And what would you say to that person, right? It was that first year, right? Yeah. Rookie of the year, had some great success, but there was also sacrifice. And we talk about that a lot, right? In order, whenever I sit across someone, like, I don't ask them what their dreams are. I ask them what they're willing to sacrifice, because I can get a better understanding of what they're willing to give up, which will give them future success, like you said. So
for sure, I would say, because I came in June, so it was right in the middle of a year. So I was kind of bummed I couldn't measure that full year to year. But those first 6 months, Monday through Friday, it was 5 a.m. I would get in the office and till 7 p.m. And I would call you every single day on my way home. And then from 7 to 8:30, I would kind of eat dinner, hang out with my family and stuff. And then 8:30 to 1 in the morning, I was working again. So, wake back up at 4 a.m. the next day. And that was my Monday through Friday for a year. Saturdays, I would do 10 open houses on Saturday. Sunday, I would do 10 open houses on Sunday. And then again, I would circle back during the week with those people I met on the weekend, really just kind of establish that relationship.
And for someone who doesn't know, what's the point of an open house?
Yeah, so open house is a real estate agent will, they'll have a listing, and they'll essentially they'll show it to the market. So prospective buyers can come in and whatnot. And as an insurance agent, that's a wonderful opportunity for you to stop in and make that relationship with that real estate agent, because there's no other insurance agents out there that do that. So it's kind of a way of showing we are different here.
You just gave away all of our secrets. Yeah.
And you're not chasing around the buyers around the house. You're there.
You're not chasing the buyers.
With that
no, you're not. And they're not there for you. You're there for them. So all that good stuff you learn definitely through our trainings and whatnot. But, kind of back to that grind, it was to the point to where and this, once a month I would do this, as insane as this is, every Thursday. Okay, once a month on a Thursday, I would wake up and I'd start working at 7 a.m. that Thursday morning. And I didn't stop working until Friday night at 7 p.m. Right. So it was
it was a 36-hour shift.
Literally once a month I would do that. And I did that 12 times in my first month. You want to talk about not to brag or boast or anything, but I've never met anyone who has told me anything like that. So it's so cool that you guys have created this platform that someone like myself, who's I'm a dog, I'll just work all day, every single day.
Right.
And I can just become super successful in a short period of time. I just don't know any other industry or opportunity that's going to offer something like that.
Well, with that hard work and within our system, not knowing really anything of the industry, you were the fastest one really up until that point to become that agency owner. Really, because one, you didn't fight the system.
No.
And two, you just worked like a dog and did what you were asked to do. And a lot of times, double or triple of what you were asked to do.
100 calls, 200.
That's it.
So 3 years in, $4 million personal book of business.
Yeah.
Mentoring a team of soon to be 8.
Yeah.
Right? Why do you enjoy being a mentor?
I enjoy being a mentor because I was in their shoes at one point in time. And although, you guys are in Fort Lauderdale, you're a phone call away, I'm in person. So not that I'm going to be a better mentor than you guys, but I feel like I can be more effective. I'm right next to somebody. So watching somebody grow, not just as a business professional, but as a woman or a man is super cool to me, and someone finding themselves, because we go back to when I was 19, I was so lost in where I was as a person, and when you have somebody that shows you, it not only gives you an opportunity, but they show you how you can grow a business and grow as a person. And, you pass off those, different what am I trying to say? Just mentalities and work ethics to somebody. It's really cool to watch someone else grow that's in the same position that you were once in. So,
and I will give Pete all the credit for them. That's the philosophy of our entire company, right? And it's, he mentored me, we mentor the next, and then now we get to watch you do that with the next group of people. Sure. And it's encouraging to see that we've surrounded ourselves with like-minded people that have not only created that success for themselves. I mean, that's a pretty good feat. $4 million in 3 years, right? Yeah. Essentially brand new to the industry. 26 years old, agency owner, and now mentor of this next wave of agents to be able to watch them do what you did or are doing,
for sure,
right, with them every single day. I mean, we have Monday meeting calls, and I think, 13, 14 weeks in a row, no one's outproduced you while you're still coaching and mentoring them, right?
For sure. And I'll say this too, I love that part of it too, because, some people need someone else to chase. I never needed someone else to chase. I was always competing with what I did yesterday. That's always been my mentality. But for these guys, it's so cool because, you have those milestones and you have someone in front of them and there's always something to chase and reach. So, I mean, for a young guy who's never been in the business, but who has that grit, who wants to make, a long-term business for themselves and career, I would say definitely, you should come in, work under me, shadow me, and I'll show you the ropes, same way you guys did.
Yeah, we pride ourselves as an organization. Why not be mentored from someone very successful who's done it before you? Most companies don't do that.
No.
Or our joke is one of the teachers from the college that we got in a fight with comes out and tries to coach you out of a textbook.
Out of a book.
Right. It doesn't work.
Out of a book or even a computer. I mean, you guys are saying, not to say the other, companies' names, but some companies will bring you in and send you a clip, a link to watch and training.
Right.
Who can follow that? I mean, you got to be a maniac to follow that. So anyway.
So I'm 20, sitting in my business class. Right.
Or even biology. I don't know.
We're harping on these business
right.
professors.
I mean, listen, you were in business, right? Most entrepreneur-minded kids are not going to school to be a biology teacher, right? Let's just call it what it is. But I'm 20 years old. I'm sitting in class, and I'm pondering on: do I really need this degree? $50,000 in debt, right? And they come across John Galt. What would you say to them?
If you're in school to be a doctor, stay to be a doctor, man. Get that degree and save some lives. But, anything else, I would say, think about the next 5 to 10 years of your life. Can you, one, think about where you're at right now and incurring all that debt, and then trying to go and work your way up and level your way to eventually get, 10, 20 vacation days a year and make $100,000 after, 15, 20 years of work? Or can you sacrifice, 5 years of your life with John Galt and go from a kid that's, working 3 jobs, coming out of college, barely making 50, 70 grand a year, to somebody who's 5 years in the business, making almost, $400,000 or $500,000 in a year? I would say it's a pretty obvious decision.
And it really just, not to take anything away from you, but it was just your hard work.
100%.
Right? With your willingness to show
now,
up.
Now, if you're a lazy sack of shit sitting in that chair in school, stay where you're at, right?
Right. So. And that really comes down to it. It's someone that's willing to work the 3 jobs, that's willing to bet on themselves. I would argue there's really no other better system that gives them that opportunity to earn that agency with their sweat equity. We talk about it all the time. When I met Pete, I was 24. I didn't have 50, 60 grand. I didn't have, a mom or dad that I could run to and see if I could borrow the money. And he was like, let's build you a system so that you would be able to create that for yourself. And you've taken full advantage of that.
And now you guys have gray hair and everything. It's 20 years
no,
later.
yeah, no longer.
I used to be 6 feet tall and full head of hair. Yes.
Yeah. I would say this: joining John Galt Insurance not only will be the best decision that you ever make from a business standpoint or your career path, but your future family and friends will also either thank you or be very jealous of the opportunity that you have.
And or work for you.
And or work for you, yes.
Once everyone graduates, they come and work for you because you worked here for 5 years and built up a whole lot.
And then we'll help them pay off all their student loan and everything like that. And so, yeah.
Awesome.
So once again, thank you, Pete, for joining
Of course.
us. Tyler, thanks for taking time out of your busy
I
day.
appreciate everything you do. You're amazing and an awesome mentor. Appreciate you.
All right, and get back to work. Thank you. All right.
I know. Now you can yell at us for all the customers that are. Oh, wait, one more thing. What's the phone call that we got from Tyler? One of my favorites.
Oh, yeah. You want to tell him?
I love you, but I hate you.
Yeah, no, can I touch on something before you cut that off?
Yeah.
I'll definitely say this. When I first started, I was like kind of trying to figure out like the gist of the way our business works and like how like like things are working for you. And Kyle said, he made an analogy to me. He was like, picture a rusty faucet. And I've brought this up so many times. Picture a rusty faucet, like how hard it is to get that thing on. But finally, once you get it on, like it's impossible to turn it off. And that's been the most realest advice I've been given throughout this whole process. And like here you are, 3-4 years in the business and you're trying to hire, trying to get all the help you can because things just are going crazy. And you
Right.
can't-
Well, I feel like on one of those Thursday nights, you picked up the phone where you're working at 36, right? And you said it to me multiple times. You said it to Pete as well. Is I got to tell you one thing. I love you, but I hate you.
But I hate you.
Love you for showing me this, and I hate you because I can't keep up. Or
Yeah, no, for sure.
I'm sitting here working 36 straight hours. Because
I still
I've got
feel
so
that
much
way.
business coming in. Right. Well,
I still feel that way.
So, don't be afraid to drop out of school. Come with Tyler here, and he will show you the ropes and teach you how to be a multi-million-dollar producer and build a business. He's amazing.
Unless you're lazy, don't join.
awesome. All right. Thank you.